What's up, Taiwan? I'm Erika Liu. 2021 was a year packed with news that made a big impact. And today in our show, we're going to look back at some of the stories that left an indelible mark on Taiwan. We begin with the images that grabbed our attention, the sights and sounds that kept us at the edge of our seats. This year, we learned about hypersonic missiles developed by the world's superpowers and designed to inflict maximum damage. It was also the year of the vaccine. Billions got jabs, but many others were left behind. And we learned that 2 doses might not be enough. Mother Nature reared her head in 2021. We saw flooding and fires and even volcanoes. And more than ever, the signs of climate change on our doorstep took our breath away. But it was also the small moments that changed us as individuals, the tiny course corrections, often invisible, that would bring about a lasting change. We begin with a threat of invasion. Most of us in Taiwan go about our daily life without thinking about a possible attack. We're used to the daily incursions of Chinese military jets. But on October 4th, 56 military aircraft entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ. It was the highest number in a single day.
A Chinese Shenyang J-16 tandem-seat twin-jet multi-role strike fighter is seen flying into Taiwan's southwestern ADIZ. The fighter was among 56 military aircraft that breached Taiwan's southwestern ADIZ Monday, a new record for incursions in a single day since the Defense Ministry started publicizing figures. Taiwan continues to scramble planes, issue radio warnings, and mobilize ground defenses during Chinese incursions. But the surge in recent days has led to a renewed sense of urgency. Taiwan's foreign minister spoke to Australian media to call for intelligence sharing and security cooperation with like-minded countries.
The defense of Taiwan is in our own hands, and we are absolutely committed to that. And if China is going to launch a war against Taiwan, we will fight to the end, and that is our commitment.
With Taiwan gaining more support on the international stage, it remains to be seen if the incursions by PLA warplanes will continue. Patrick Chen and William Yen for TaiwanPlus.
This next story had a big impact not just on Taiwan, but the entire world. It's probably no surprise that we're talking about COVID-19. Taiwan faced its biggest outbreak in May, hundreds of daily cases, and level 3 restrictions. That means lots of places closed, and we had to mask up when leaving the house. But by late July, things had started to improve. And in October, Sandy Chi brought us this story about some creative ways to keep safe while having fun.
This Mahjong Club is full of dust and cobwebs after being closed for 4 long months. It is finally ready to be back in business, and players are eager to return.
我们也有设置了隔板，交叉的，它是 X 型的，很碰啦、很吃、很糊啦，都没有问题。戴着手套好，触感比较好的，大家可以戴得比较久的，不要戴上去不到2分钟，然后就出手汗了，那大家就会偷偷的把它拿下。
Strict protocols and also innovative measures are in place to protect players against infection. The clubs have prepared partitions and gloves specially for the players. However, some complain it is not the same. Mahjong is a tactile game, and experienced players can read a tile by touch. That's not as easy to do with fingers wrapped in plastic. Mahjong clubs are one type of entertainment venue set to reopen soon, while many are excited to go out and socialize again. At the same time, the possibility of another outbreak is also a worry. Aznaya Zhou and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
There are few things in the world that have as big an impact on people as pollution, and it's something that humans have the power to regulate if we want to. But loose government regulations means that the polluting practices of large corporations often go unchecked. As Bing Wang reports, Taiwanese company Formosa Plastics pollution has impacted communities around the world.
Formosa means beautiful island. It was a name given by Portuguese sailors when they first caught sight of what is now known as Taiwan. But for residents living near Formosa plastic plants in many parts of the world, it means something very different. To them, Formosa represents decades of illegal dumping and polluted waterways. Diane Wilson is a 4th-generation fisherwoman. 2 years ago, she led a group lawsuit that eventually reached a $50 million settlement and a promise of zero discharge with the Texas Formosa Plastics plant. But it did not stop the Texas facility from dumping pollutants into the waterways. Their production plants are scattered across Taiwan, the United States, China, and Southeast Asia. And in many of those countries, there have been protests against their polluting practices. 3 major environmental groups based in the United States released a report in early October documenting decades of Formosa plastics violations. The report found that the Taiwanese conglomerate had been slapped with penalties globally for violations totaling more than $500 million since 1999. Chris Ma and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
A deadly Kaohsiung blaze that killed 46 people left a deep impact on not only the residents of the building, which has since been torn down. It has also highlighted the urgent need for reforms to Taiwan's fire safety and building regulations. Ryan Hill-Kilpatrick brought us this story.
Wooden kindling strewn in all directions. Insulation and fabric dangling from the ceilings and walls. Weeds sprouting from rotten floors. These images capture the incendiary state of Kaohsiung's Chengzhongcheng building before a fire ripped through it last week, killing 46 people. The tragedy has shone a light on Taiwan's fire safety and building regulations, prompting swift action and promises of greater enforcement by government agencies.
I think it's not a flaw for any specific government. I think it just reflects the social problems, like the gap between have and have not, and also reflect the social problems on urban planning and also the management. In the United States, they start to list vacant buildings. The government also utilize a policy called buyout. The government will pay you money and buy out your house.
As the dust clears from this deadly and preventable disaster, people nationwide will be waiting to see how the authorities will find a rapid solution to a generations-old problem. Ryan Hill-Kilpatrick and Klein Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan made history in 2019 by becoming the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. But some people were left behind. Taiwanese people could only marry people of the same sex from countries where it is already legal. Several couples sued the government, and finally this year, some were allowed to marry, like Gusifer Liang and Chen Xin-chi, who wed in September. But other transnational couples are still waiting. We spoke to Vincent in Taiwan, whose fiancé Andrew is in the Philippines.
Hi. Because right now we can get married, so I think, like for example, like in this pandemic time, he wants to go here, to stay with me so much. But actually, it can happen because for the government, he's only my friend, one of my friends. He's not my husband. So I think it's a little bit sad because we can't get the that paper that state our relationship is a couple, is a husband.
We spoke to another same-sex couple this year that was impacted by the right to marry in a very different way. James Chater spoke to Miao Miao and Wei Wei to hear how getting married actually made it harder for them to adopt.
就是我们家是想要收养2个孩子的，所以我们已经办了结婚登记了，所以接下来就会变成是我们要收养第2个孩子的时候，我们到底要不要先离婚？依目前大家的说法就是我们得先离婚，对，然后来收养第2个孩子。那我觉得这个也很荒谬啊，就是我们又要回到那个变成是又从夫妇关系要变成没有关系，
透过一些方式让政府看见我们的需求，对啊，所以我们就是要一起去透过那个法律程序，让政府知道我们的问题，这个法的问题，我就愿意站出来，因为我觉得不能够因为我们是少数中的少数而牺牲掉我们的权利，对。
Thank you for joining me for this look at the stories that had a big impact on Taiwan. I'm Erika Liu. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app and stay tuned all this week as we celebrate some of our favorite moments of 2021. Take care.